Hello everyone and welcome to another casual review. Today I'm talking about Ghostrunner. Now if I was just to give you the elevator pitch of this game, have you ever wanted to live out your childhood dream of being an edgy robot ninja equipped with a really cool sword in a neon futuristic city? Of course you have. I don't care who you are, if you're old, young, male, female, at one point in time you wanted to live out that fantasy of being a super quick, cool, edgy cyborg ninja. And if you haven't, then I don't even know what to say to you. So basically, as far as the plot goes, there is this big old burst. It doesn't go too much into it, but most of the Earth is uninhabitable. So all of the Earth's population lives in this giant tower known as Dharma Tower. And there was a big old takeover. This one girl who looks a lot like Doc Ock from Spider-Man takes over the president who created Dharma Tower and overtook it, and she has her own nefarious plans for Dharma Tower. Now you wake up not knowing anything about your past, but apparently you are a Ghostrunner, and Ghostrunners were basically like the law enforcers of Dharma Tower. You're the only one left, you're the only surviving Ghostrunner, and so basically you are tasked by the old president who uploaded his mind to the data network, and he is instructing you on reclaiming Dharma Tower and destroying Mara, who is the big baddie. And the story just plays out from there. Basically, people will talk to you while you are playing through the game, and that's how the story envelops. There's no, well, I guess there is at the beginning of the game and the end of the game, there's a little cutscene, but as far as that, most of the time the story will be played out by people talking to you. For a game like this, though, it is all about the gameplay. You are, like I said, you're an edgy, quick cyborg ninja, and basically one bullet will kill you. So it's like real life in that way, where it's just one hit kills. There's no shields or anything like that. You just immediately die. Now the system would not work if you didn't immediately boot back up to where you were in the last checkpoint. There's no loading screens or anything like that. They totally expect you to be dying over and over again, and I would be incredibly frustrated if there was a loading screen, but luckily there's not. It's just, okay, hop back in the action, try that again. So it's kind of interesting how the gameplay works here. If you've ever played a game like Hotline Miami, it's kind of like that, but in a 3D view. Katana Zero is another one that comes to mind, where you develop this pathway. You're like, okay, I need to strafe across here, take out the guy with the gun, then take out the guy with the sword, and then I have to destroy this thing that's creating a shield around these other enemies, and then I need to backtrack and go around this robot and kill him. And you develop this plan because you're dying over and over again, and in your head you're thinking like, okay, that pathway didn't work, that tactic didn't work, let's try going this way instead. And by the end of the run, when you actually have a successful run, usually it will feel really good and it will look really awesome. And I think this kind of brings me to my first gripe, and this is rather specific to the Nintendo Switch version. Well, I'm not sure if this is supported in other consoles as well, but as far as the Switch goes, there is a record button where it records the last 30 seconds of your video, and I feel like this game is completely made for a system like that, and it isn't supported for some reason. For some reason, developers don't support the video recording in their game, which normally is fine. Like, I utilize it a lot for YouTube videos, but if a game doesn't support it, I'll just record it natively on my PC. But this game in particular, I want to show off those really successful runs where everything just falls into place, and I have been doing so much of this trial and error to finally reach that state of a successful run. I want to show it off, so why not support that video recording? Just a small, very specific gripe to me, but I feel like this would really help this game get views on social media when you show off those really cool runs. So as far as like mechanics goes for this game, I feel like when you think of like a edgy cyborg ninja, what do you think of? You think of like wall running, you think of one-hit stabs with your sword, you think of quick timing, but he can also slow down time. He's got a dash. And then as you play through, you unlock additional abilities. These are like more abilities that you have to charge up your focus in order to use. So you unlock a couple of these, like one is like an insta-kill, one is like a mind control, one is like a Jedi force push. So over time, as you play through the game, you will unlock these special abilities, but your focus bar has has to be full in order to use them, and it will just fill up slowly over time, or it'll fill up faster if you kill your enemies. Oh, and how could I forget about the grappling hook? The grappling hook is really fun to use, where there are certain hooks in the air that you can just launch straight towards. It's really fun, and it works really well with the wall running mechanic that they have here. For the most part, I felt like the controls and the combat worked. There is a ton of platforming as well as the combat itself. Sometimes there's just no enemies, and your job is to just platform your way across this endless void, because you're playing like on this giant Dharma tower, so it's nothing but sky below you, and you just have to like wall run across these buildings and use the grappling hook. So the platforming itself is pretty good. Usually for a first-person view like this, platforming can actually be pretty difficult to pull off, and I felt like they did a good job here. Sometimes you would come across the moments where you're like, I feel like I should have started to run across the wall there. I feel like I should have grappled all the way up to that platform, but whatever. You know, that this kind of happens with any game where it has those things where you feel like it wasn't your fault, it was the game's fault. But you know, about like 85-90% of the time it did what I wanted it to do. There is a little bit of customization here, not a whole lot in terms of like actual mechanics here. They basically, like, the upgrade system works like a Mega Man Battle Network system, if you've ever played that, where like each upgrade is a different shape of block, kind of like a Tetris block, but think like more blocks other than 4, and you can rotate these blocks and fit them in a certain box, and that's how you upgrade. Now, the upgrades themselves are nothing too flashy. It's basically like, hey, when you slow down time, it slows down for longer, or they will boost your abilities. Like, hey, when you mind control this guy, he'll be mind controlled for longer. Or hey, it's a lot easier to ricochet bolts with your sword, where if an enemy shoots at you and you use your sword attack, you can ricochet them back to the enemy. So just little upgrades like that, nothing like too flashy, and so I didn't feel like anything was too exciting, just personally. But it was fun doing this customization. I feel like a lot more games should utilize this whole like fitting the blocks into this piece, and it kind of feels like you're trying to fill out the block as much as possible while still getting all of the upgrades that you want to use in your character. As far as cosmetic unlockables, you can do some cool things, like you can unlock different swords, you can unlock different glove colors, but basically like that's all you're really going to see of your character for the most part. Over time through the story, you will get the upgrades that actually upgrade your character, but as far as the customizations go, they have these little hidden items hidden throughout the world. So if you're not just focused on speed running through this game, which I feel like it really emphasizes this speed running mentality, just go, 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 go. But, you know, there is a lot of exploration to be done here too. But all of these hidden items, I feel like they're just cosmetic, and then there are a couple of just these items that have codexes attached to them that you can read more about the world. And those definitely were not exciting. I'd get all excited because I actually found one of these like hidden items, because I didn't find a lot of them. Most of the time I just wanted to go, 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 get to the next battle. But sometimes I would stumble across these hidden items, and they were actually kind of disappointing, because I want a new sword, I want new gloves, and then nope, you just get like this old teddy bear that has a wall of text attached to it. Like, cool. I'm glad I really hunted that guy out. But it was cool switching out like all the different swords. I actually don't think I unlocked any different colors of gloves, unfortunately. That just goes to show how little that I did uncover. Now, in terms of difficulty, this game is very hard. Like I said, one bullet, one sword slash, one laser, you will be dead, and you will just have to boot back up to the checkpoint. The platforming itself is actually pretty difficult to pull off. Like I said, it is fair for the most part, but it's still really difficult. And I'm very grateful that it doesn't grade me at the end of each chapter like some games like to do, because it will tell you how many deaths you have and how long you took to play through the chapter, and it isn't unusual for me to be between 50 and 150 deaths at the end of each chapter. So I would die quite a lot. I imagine most people will here, unless you're really good, you're like a pro gamer, you're gonna struggle here and you're going to die a lot, and they definitely expect that because of this like instantaneous like get back in the action mentality. Now, this was this kind of would borderline be frustrating rather than challenging. It would bounce between the two, where one moment I'm playing through, I'm like, oh, this is really challenging, but I'm into it and I just want to get that perfect run here. And other times I'm just so frustrated, pulling out my hair, just cursing under my breath, because I get so mad at this game. As in terms of like difficulty, I want to say this game is probably more difficult than Salt and Sanctuary, but it is a little more bearable than that, because in a game like Salt and Sanctuary, you have to like run back to where you were to gather up all your salt, and there's a lot of backtracking. But in this game, it's just like instantaneous, like, hey, try again, try again, try again. So it's more difficult than that, but I don't know. It is a little more tolerable, but there's still a lot of those really frustrating moments that I just like, I just want to get past this part. When you think of like this post-apocalyptic neon city world, obviously your mind's going to go in terms of like this electronic music, very like in a movie, like a futuristic movie where they go to a bar to get information and there's neon signs everywhere and grumpy aliens looking at the main characters. Just think of like that kind of music where you just get like this beat, this like a techno-y type of electronic music. It works. It just gets very repetitive and samey, because it's almost like the same song over and over again. You just get that like beat, the doon 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 with like the electronic music. Nothing knocked my socks off here, but it fit the bill. You're playing a cyborg ninja, of course you're going to be listening to electronic music. Other than not being able to record my gameplay though, the game ran all right on the Switch. I didn't have too many complaints. For some reason, when I would put my Switch to sleep and then I'd boot the game back up, it would always say like an error has occurred, and normally when I get that message it kicks me out of the game, but I was able to just resume where I was. And this happened every time I woke my Switch up and booted up the game again. I'm not sure what the deal with that is, but nothing broke the game. I didn't get any message like while I was playing in the middle of the game. It can stutter sometimes. I saw a couple of quick little hiccups, and it got actually pretty pixely when there is a lot going on the screen, but other than that, nothing too interruptive. This is going to be on a scale, so it might bug some people who are like 60 frames per second only. You might find this a little unplayable, but for me, a major Switch player, I'm kind of used to this at this point. Sometimes my screen would glitch out and everything would turn blue until I turned my camera a little bit, so just weird little things like that, but nothing interruptive, and it definitely didn't affect my enjoyment of the game. The game length itself, I felt like, is actually pretty good. It didn't tell me exactly how long I'd spent playing this game, but I would say under 10 hours. If I was to estimate, maybe like 6 or 7 hours if I was to guess. Overall, I think I will give this game the score of 3 out of 5. I enjoyed my time playing through it when I wasn't pulling out my hair or cursing. I just have, it's kind of like a mixed bag of positivity and negativity when it came to playing this game, just looking back in hindsight. Well guys, that's it for me. Let me know what you think of Ghostrunner, and I'd love to hear what you have to say. Otherwise, I'll talk to you later. Bye!